You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
Welcome, everybody, to episode number 235 of the Battle Herons podcast. I am your host, Daniel Granada, and alongside me, as always, for Cafecito with the Herons, Mr. Daniel Solana. How are you doing, sir?
It's a little different waking up on a Saturday morning. Could have gotten an extra
For sure.
hour of sleep, but yeah, like we said earlier, I got a golf tournament coming up in a couple hours with the Kendall Golf League, and dude, I'm ready to
You
talk a
golf
little
like
bit of
that? You're in a
football.
league?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like I'm not hitting in the 70s or the 80s, but it's fun because you play with a handicap. So there's people that are really really good, and there's people like me that are just okay. But you can
I'm not gonna
compete.
lie to you.
It's fun.
You saying you don't play with the hand? None of that makes sense to me. I don't know. Golf is one of those languages that I don't get. Handicap and none of that. What's going on, Hash? So and good morning to Celine. Yeah, the closest thing I've gotten to golf is I went and I teed off once, and I've done top golf a couple times. That's it. I've heard it's
All
addicting
right.
though once you get into it.
It is, man. It's a fun game, especially if you get out there with your buddies. You crack open a couple beers if that's what you like to do. And it's just a nice afternoon. It's a long afternoon, right? It takes 4.5, 5 hours between
God
by the
damn.
time you get up and get there and warm up and play. But dude, we have a league with 28 guys, and we get out there once a month and play. So it's fun to get out there with a big group of friends. But
And shout out to Joe. He said, good evening from Singapore. Won't be able to stay for the live. Hope to discuss. Yes, we are going to talk Frey for sure. And Celine, no baby yet? Not yet. I do have a feeling that you won't be seeing me for a little while once it happens. And I have a feeling it's going to be very soon, though. But no, not yet. Not yet. We'll wait and see. That's why we're randomly doing a Saturday morning. Because I originally thought the game was going to be played on Monday. And I was like, so we're probably not going to have a show on Monday, maybe a post game, and that's about it. And now they said it was going to be on Tuesday, which makes more sense to me. Good morning, Emmanuel, because only giving Columbus 2 days of rest didn't seem fair. Honestly, there's no really other way to put it. And then good and Morgan, what's going on, Justin?
scheduling is kind of weird though, man. There's only one game that's going to be played on Monday, and every other game is going to be played on Tuesday. Why wouldn't they
Well,
just
because
play every game on Tuesday?
yes, but then you have people that complain that they're not giving you football every day, or that they aren't spreading out the games. You know, everybody complains on Saturday nights all the games are being played.
No, yeah,
So
but that I understand. That's a little bit different because that's you're talking about league games, and you could spread out one match day over 4 days. We're here in Leagues Cup, where you're basically now in the knockout stages. You can't have games over 4 days because it just doesn't make sense. Then the tournament would take too long.
yeah,
But it just maybe I just thought it would be a little bit more interesting if they would have did half the games one day, half the games the other day. But I mean, I don't know, just putting one game.
I think
At
the
least
mess
it's a
up
good game.
was yeah, and I think the mess up was that this past weekend that they played like all the games on Friday instead of playing more games on Thursday. But again, that's all scheduling, whatever. It's a show. It's a mess. It's going on mess at TV. But the round of 16 is set. Let me put up that real quick. And I thought I had put. Oh, here it is. This is the round of 16. So uh, we have America, St. Louis, and Toluca, and Colorado. Now, for those that weren't aware, there are 16 teams left. Of the 15 teams that Inter Miami could play in this tournament, Columbus included, Inter Miami would host 7 of those. So they still have a possibility to host a couple games because there's 6 Mexican teams left, which they would host each one of those Mexican teams whenever they would play them. And you have Colorado, which is still around. And Colorado is still the only team. There were only 2 MLS teams that Miami could host. It was Toronto, what they hosted last round. And I don't think Colorado is going to make it to the final. But if by some miracle Colorado makes it to the final, Miami would host them also. So they still have almost half of the field that they could still host at Chase Stadium, which is wild to me because really didn't think that they would be playing many home games.
Yeah, I don't really think Colorado's gonna make it that far anyways after this, after this round. But it is cool that at least on the east side of the bracket, there's still, Tigres, Cruz
Hmm.
Azul, and Mazatlan, which could possibly mean that Inter Miami could host, a possible quarterfinal and a possible semifinal. So yeah, I mean, and I'm in a conundrum, Danny.
Why?
I've been to the last two Leagues Cup games. Suarez has scored in both games. I mean,
So you can't miss any more games.
I can't miss any more home games. No, no. Like I've gotten to see my idol score two games in a row, especially on Thursday, which was a golazo, that little chip
Mm.
that he did.
That little chip, yeah.
And I
I
mean,
think the way he played that pass was even nicer than the actual chip.
I mean, and I was listening to the post game. Let me tell you, I thought, in my opinion, that might have been Suarez's maybe not best game, but definitely top five game in an Inter Miami uniform. Just with all the movement he was doing, and he just looked like he was running a lot. He had some nice passes and stuff, but yeah, man, it was a fun game on Thursday. It was a shame that not a lot of people went out there, but yeah.
But you've been really heavy on the attendance on Twitter. Um,
I have
I
been.
thought I thought the stadium, although did look obviously a lot emptier than it should be. I thought that there was more people out there than like Franco Panizo's picture is everywhere. Everybody's going and reposting Franco Panizo's picture. Franco took that picture before the game started.
Yes,
It
yes,
was
yes.
it was a Thursday. It was a 7:30 game. A couple minutes into the game, it started filling up. I'm not saying it filling up to the point where it was at capacity or anywhere near capacity, but that picture is deceiving because that picture was taken before game time. It's a Thursday. It's Miami. Miami traffic. I promise you, everybody had a hard time getting there. It it
Yeah, it
wasn't
it took us
full,
an
but
hour and 10 minutes from Kendall. Just
yeah,
to give you just to give folks
yeah,
that are watching an idea.
right. And what time did you leave?
I left at 5:45 and we arrived the
Mhm.
stadium at 7:05. So an hour and
Yeah,
20 minutes.
yeah.
That's what it took us.
And the game started at 7:30. By the time some people park, some people aren't parking at the stadium because it's $50. Saying it was misleading. So, and I don't blame Franco, right? I know that he knew that he was going to take that picture and that it was going to get around. It's going to get. I get it, but it is misleading
I
because he
mean,
didn't take a he.
I took a
Nobody's
video. I took a
right.
video during the game after one of the goals. I mean, I can tell you the
La
North Stand.
Familia showed up. Yeah,
Yeah, the north. That's where I was sitting. I was sitting in the north stand, row three. Fantastic seats, and it was full, and it was loud, and it was full. And then the northeast and the southeast, those corners. That's the section that they decided to sell for 20 or $25 on Ticketmaster. Those were, especially the southeast one, that was sold out. That was sold
hmm
out. There was no spots there. Now, the south stand where you guys normally sit was somewhat empty for most of the game. And what folks did is a lot of folks that had tickets in the upper part of the
they moved
section,
down.
they moved down at halftime. So like I was looking at your guys' seats because I knew you guys weren't there, and I knew El Bigote was gonna possibly be there,
Yeah,
but he couldn't make it. So I was looking at your seats; they were empty the whole first half, but then somebody was sitting there in the second half. So,
yeah.
and then the on the east stand, yeah, it was a little empty when he took that picture, but it filled up a little bit more. And
And again,
obviously,
I'm not saying that it was full, and I'm not saying that I wish there wouldn't be more people, but it wasn't as
uh,
empty as that picture showed.
no, definitely not, definitely not. And look, I've been, and you said it, I've been very vocal on social media about
Mhm.
how appalled and surprised I am that folks aren't going. And again, I understand, the rift between the season ticket holders and and the front office, and I understand what's going on, but I don't know, man. I guess at the end of the day, I think about the players, I think about the team, and yeah, the front office, could be screwing everybody in terms of raising prices, not giving enough benefits and stuff. But I'm not going to stop going, because I just think it's worth it, man. I think I'm willing to pay up to $75 to go watch. If you're telling me Suarez, Alba, Busquets are going to be starting, I think $75 is a fair price for a ticket.
I think that the difference here for you and a lot of people, and to be clear, I wanted to go. I even asked for extra tickets. It just didn't work out for me, but I wanted to go. But I think the difference between you and a lot of people is that $75 is enough for you to go watch all these players, but a lot of people are already paying double what they paid last year for season tickets to see these players. They see them already 17 times. So seeing them an 18th and 19th time for $75, it might not be worth it, especially on a weekday, especially with $50 parking.
But
You know,
then, but then I
I
have
get
to.
it. I get why some people want to go.
I have to. I mean, understandably, there's things that happen. Correct. You have a very particular situation with your wife, and and it's not easy for you to travel an hour. Something were to happen, you got to go to the. So those situations I understand, but there's a lot of folks that are oh, I'm a fan, I have season tickets, but I'm not gonna go. And to me, like that just shows that you're that you're not a fan. Sorry, but the excuse of traffic, the excuse of oh, I could have planned something else. Like, dude, if I got free tickets, and again, I compare this to how I was raised, right? And how I watch soccer and how folks in Uruguay and Argentina, because that's what I'm closest to. And
Right.
if you give anybody free tickets over there, even if they got to go 2 hours, they're going to go watch it because that's the love that they have for their team. They'll drop anything to go watch their team.
I think there might be a difference there as far as when you were born. Was your team's Nacional, right?
Correct.
You were born. You've been a Nacional fan all your life.
Correct.
So it's instilled in you. It's embedded in you.
Correct.
I think if the Dolphins play a game on Thursday, a lot of Miami fans, I'm not one, but a lot of Miami fans, they have that instilled in them because they've been a Dolphins fan all their life. Inter Miami is a new club. Like you can't imagine that people are going to be hardcore. Like they're and I mean there are some hardcore fans already, right? Just 4 years in or 5 years in now. But I don't think that it's instilled yet. I think that the later generations are going to have that I'm going to go watch this team whenever. It doesn't matter what. Like it's still new. I don't think that you get that hardcore fandom that you're comparing to the South Americans because they're raised with that from a very young age. This is a brand new team that we're learning to love just now.
Exactly. I think you hit it on the head though, and that's one of the things that I've always said is I don't understand how folks 4 or 5 years in could be so or could love something so much or have that passion for it.
It's growing. It's growing just now.
But it is, little by little, it's growing. And I think eventually when the stadium is in Miami, the team has been here for a while, they will have that, whether it's, 10,000 fans that are that passionate that will always go, they will have that. It's just not there yet. And again, it's disappointing because, a knockout game in a tournament where your team is the defending champion, you would expect your fans to show up. But again, outside things are going on, understandable, and we can talk about them playing Columbus on Monday.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Because I don't want to keep going back and forth about it. But just real quick, that game on Thursday, I think if it played on Saturday, the attendance is a little better than it already was. And if the game's played in Miami with free tickets, I think that people would be more willing to go also. But whatever, that's a story for another day. On the pitch Thursday, you weren't on the post game. Obviously, like you said, it's over an hour drive for us here in South Miami. Any thoughts on the game before we get into Columbus?
Yeah, man, I thought it was a good game from Inter Miami. Obviously, there was some issues with the back line and when Prince came in for Bernadeschi, I mean, he caused a lot of trouble.
That's a big boy.
It is a big boy. He was a huge boy, and not only that, he's pretty fast, man. He was getting in between our defenders and getting some through balls, and he was able to get a couple of penalties. And overall, I thought it was a fantastic game to be up, to be at 4-3. You get 7 goals, 2 PKs, fantastic game. Inter Miami, I thought played great. Mainly because they got a red card 27 minutes in. I mean, first off, Danny, did you ever think they'd be up 2-0, in 8 minutes or 9 minutes, whatever it was?
Well, it was the 11th minute is when they scored the second one. But by that point, they had 2 other clear opportunities. One Suarez whiffed on and one Diego Gomez went wide on. They should have been up at least 3, maybe 4-0 in the first 11 minutes. At that point, I was like, oh, my God, they're going to score 6 on them.
Yeah,
I really thought it was going to be an ass kicking.
I told my buddy that. I told my buddy, we looked at each other like, oh shit, it's going to be 7-0. But then
Yeah,
that penalty, man, that was, and
changed
I
everything.
want to get into that because it's going to go into something else that the folks in the chat want us to talk about, Ian Frey. And
And just
I
real
thought,
quick, just to put a bow on what we were talking about earlier, Justin Blair said, "This is how I was raised, but unexpected games on the schedule that isn't a championship run is hard for people to prioritize." That's American sports. We don't care about other tournaments because we're not accustomed to them. Good morning to Diego, and Pete just said takes a while to establish a core group of fans, but it'll get there 100%, especially when it moves to Miami, because I don't think people all around the world now that are watching Miami realize that that stadium is really far from Miami. So it'll get there. All right, so that's it. We'll move off of that topic. Solano, what were you saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so the one I think negative spot for me was Chelo Wigan. And not only did he lose the ball in the box, then he caused the penalty. He just didn't have a great, I guess, first half. But I thought after the red card and when things could have probably gone south because now you're playing 10 versus 11. I thought Inter Miami did a fantastic job in controlling the game. They still dominated. Toronto was still getting chances. That's going to happen because you're down a man. But overall, I thought it was one of Inter Miami's better games in terms of dominating possession, just touching the ball. And I thought it was great. No complaints for me.
I think one positive there was the fact that this is their formation when the game started. And once they went down to 10 men, they kept the same form. Like, it was still 4 in the back. You still had a center defensive midfield, a better one now with Yannick Bright. And I don't mean overall player, I mean defensive wise. You had Gomez just drop down to the midfield with Redondo. Like, I felt like you didn't lose much. They kept their shape. And I think that was great defensively because you already had the lead. You didn't have to attack too much, and you could just keep that defensive form. And I think that they had a very hard time of breaking us down, even though they found their opportunities. I will tell you, I think we lucked out a bit because if you go down to 10 men for over an hour and you also have Bernadeschi creating on the wing, I think that we would have been in more danger. Even though Prince was a big boy and he got his, Bernadeschi is a world-class player, and I think that may have helped us a bit because I think Bernadeschi could have made us pay possibly with some random magic here or there.
I don't know, man. Let me tell you, the first 10 minutes when he was in before he got injured and came off, I didn't see them attacking as well. They, I think when they put Prince in, it completely changed their attack because he was a really big boy up front. And not only that, like I said, he had some speed and he was able to break the lines. Bernadeschi on the wing gives you maybe a different style, and I don't know if we would have been as in trouble as maybe you think. But overall, first, can I tell you I was surprised that Tata waited until halftime to make the sub for Yannick Bright. I thought he was going to do it right away. We were all looking at each other in the section like, what's going on? Are they going to do the sub? And then when it got to like 35, I was like, I think he's going to try to hold off because if he can get the rest of the half out of Gressel and then bring in a Bright in the second half, exactly. And it did wonders. I mean, to me, Bright might have been, other than Alba, might have been the player of the game, especially in the second half. I mean, did you see him just destroying everything that came in? I mean, this kid is special, man. This kid is going to be gone very soon.
He's like a free safety in the midfield. Like, he's just roaming and he's just like, I dare you to pass it to this space and give the ball into this area and I will get a foot on it. It's awesome. I really enjoy watching him play. And it gets to the point where, again, another game, everybody predicted it. I was hopeful that they would do with the Tigres, what they did with the Tigres game, just because I thought Toronto was an inferior opponent, that they might rest Boosie and let Bright start. I was disappointed when he didn't start because I felt like, okay, so now Bright's not going to get some minutes. Here we go. But he got on the pitch and he had another stellar game. And it's almost to the point where it's like, how many times does he have to show that he can't be off the pitch? Like, Gressel has looked really good at the right wing. He doesn't look as good in the midfield. He
Although
shouldn't be starting.
he didn't look that bad the other day, though.
No.
Let me tell you, and I thought, he gives you a player that can hold the ball in the midfield. And I was surprised, Danny, because I was actually going to ask you to put up the graphic again, but I was surprised when I saw the starting lineup and Gressel and Rojas were interchanged. I thought, yeah, I mean, we've talked about that on multiple episodes.
Yeah,
that's probably Chris's favorite stat.
Pithiest interceptions for 90 minutes, and I have to check the whole blocks because I looked up the blocks, and he was one of only 3 midfielders that were in the top 50 in blocks, also per 90 minutes. So obviously a magnet to the ball, like Emmanuel said. And this is the graphic. Yeah, I don't know. Rojas plays really good at the wing. Also, he's a lot more. He can create for himself. He can finish more than Gressel could. So I understood why they were doing that when Campana was up top. But with Suarez up top, I thought maybe they would let Gressel back there. It looks like Gressel isn't going to be playing at the right wing anymore.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like it. And let me tell you, although Matias Rojas had a very good game, he still kind of disappears every now and then during the game. I saw that.
Joe Kerr is joining us from Paris. What's going on, Joe? Are you talking about on the way to the USA versus Brazil final? Is that what we're talking about? Because if you are, shout out to you. That is an awesome game to attend. I'm planning on watching that with my daughter in a little bit. I believe it's at 11 a.m. So yeah, shout out to you.
He posted yesterday that he had bought the tickets to the finals a couple weeks ago before the USA made it. And I think I don't remember what he said. I think he spent a $200 for each ticket or whatever.
That is awesome.
I mean, talk about having the cojones to throw down the money. Not knowing if your team's gonna make it to the final. So congrats,
hey, man, triple espresso, Kerr, baby.
Man. Enjoy that, man. Enjoy that game. And not only enjoy the U.S. women's national team, but enjoy Marta. It's gonna be possibly her last ever game. Professional game. For Brazil. So enjoy, the fact that you're going to get to see probably one of the best women to ever play the sport. So, have a great time, Joe. I'll be watching on my phone while I'm golfing.
And shout out to everybody in the comment section last episode that asked us to please not talk about women's soccer anymore. Absolutely not. I will keep talking women's soccer because I think that they are skilled. They should be talked about a little more. I won't do the whole episode on it, but
But speaking of, the game was supposed to be on USA Network, and NBC bumped it up.
For what?
No, they bumped it up.
Awesome.
To NBC6, which
because
I think
is
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely, and not only that, but now it's going to be on broadcast on national television, which as before you would need a cable package to see it. So
Peacock,
I think it's fantastic, and with USA Network
or Peacock,
correct. But I think it's fantastic that they did that because now it gets more eyes onto the game and more people to watch. The women's USA team, which I don't think they need more. Well, they could always use more fans, but they have more of a fan base than the men's do.
I mean, rightfully so. They perform much better, and you're watching the next generation with Rodman, Swanson, and Smith. With Hirma and in defense, Rose Lavelle, like the team is.
Do you think that that the goalie Nair is the best goalie in the history of the U.S. men's national or U.S. women's national team? Because
Hope Solo is going to have that for a while.
Well, I saw somebody tweet that I think it's Ali Nair is the best women's goalkeeper in the U.S. And I don't know, man. I think Brianna Scurry might have something to say about that. Hope Solo might have, they've had some really, really nice goalkeepers, not to continue talking about the women's game, but it gets me excited, man. It gets me excited to see these young, good players.
Yeah, I love that there's a new generation coming up. My daughter is disappointed because she really got into Alex Morgan over the last year. And all of a sudden, Alex Morgan's done. And she's like, what the hell? But there's plenty of new players to start following. Shout out to Hammy, 4 a.m. out on the West Coast. Appreciate you joining us. Rudu, good afternoon, guys. if afternoon. I don't know where you're at, but shout out to you. And let's get back to Inter Miami. So, Ian Frey, I thought should have gotten some play, like you said. Cello, I don't know if you noticed from your seats how Cello gave up the ball in the box before he gave up the penalty, but he tried to nutmeg the defender, didn't work. That's how he lost the ball, and out of frustration, he clipped his shin and drew the. It's such a dumb foul, such a dumb move to make inside your own third. I mean, basically next to Drake. You're standing next to Drake when you're trying to do that stupid nutmeg. Like, it was just a bad overall play. And you know what? I thought he had some decent moments on the attack. He had some nice crosses, but I still think I would like to see Frey play much more often, even though I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen either. And obviously, with the rumors of possibly Sergio Roberto coming, that would give you another option at right back.
I don't think he's
And
coming.
I don't know, man. The rumors are there. There's still 5 more days in the transfer window, so we'll see what happens. Inter Miami still has that international spot, and who knows? With Schneider Borgelin leaving, that leaves an open spot. There in the 9 position. Who knows if Campana is going to still be here? There's a lot to talk about, but I agree with you, Danny, in terms of Ian Frey. I think Ian Frey should definitely get some more playing time, especially now during the Leagues Cup. Because if Tata's gonna, want to favor Cello over Frey, then maybe he should get a little bit of rest and recharge his brain so he doesn't do anything like that again. Because, I mean, look. I had some Argentinians sitting next to me. I heard every single curse word that we could ever say in Argentina and Uruguay about Cello. We got, and they were heated with him, rightfully so. Rightfully so. I mean, that was the dumbest play that you could possibly do.
I think the thing with Cello, it might be a couple things. I think one of them is the fact that he's more experienced. He's played in big games in Argentina. I think that might be one factor. Another factor is maybe he's skeptical about playing Ian Frey too much. I mean, he just came back from a big time injury, even though when he did play, he has looked good. But I don't know, maybe he doesn't want to play him too much. Maybe he's trying to give him a little more time to heal. I think he should play. It's still frustrating to see Cello out there over him, but I think that those two might be some of the factors as to why he's not getting on the pitch enough.
Absolutely. And can I tell you, on the new signing, David Martinez, although he got that red card, which I don't think it was deserved, that whole play was really, really weird. I don't understand how you go from calling a penalty and giving out a yellow card, right, to then reversing the call because of VAR, giving a free kick, and then annulling the yellow card and giving a straight red. I didn't understand that at all. I know that we were texting. You said that he was a last man. That's why they had given it to him, right? But wouldn't it have been the same thing if it was a penalty?
Well, and you know what? And we said that in the post game, and I had somebody in the comment section on YouTube. They gave an explanation as to why. They said that there's a rule where you can't. There's no what was it? No double penalty or something.
Yeah,
no.
There's no. It's like the triple sanction. So it can't be a penalty and a red
and
card,
a red, right? Something like that.
But Danny, that doesn't make any sense. So like at that point, I would have rather gotten the pen and kept David Martinez on the pitch, because
right, for
Inter
sure.
Miami was on fire when it was 11 on 11, and had they still had 11 players,
they would have kept putting it up.
Heck
for sure.
Yeah, because they were just going and going and going. So yeah, really, really weird. But other than that, I think he's been very good in the minutes that he's played so far with Inter Miami. A lot better than what Christoph has given us, and I think even better than what Frey gave us.
Mark Segage is asking, why is Frey so overhyped? Well, this is the second year that we get to see him on the pitch. Last year, we had a lot of young guys come up and do well. Cremaki, David Ruiz. Ian Frey was far and away the best young player we had last year. It's just that he got injured the game Messi debuted in, so nobody really got to see him. But the month before Messi showed up, he was playing great. Not good, great at center back, at right back, and as center defensive mid. He showed that he could be a great defender, and also that he could handle the ball at his feet and create for others. So that's when we were excited about him last year. Got injured. He came back this year, and the little bit we've seen of him, he's looked as good as he did last year and better than Chelo. So, and I said it a couple episodes ago. If you were to ask me who the best young player on this team is right now, it's Yannick Bright. It's not Ian Frey. Yannick Bright at center defensive midfield is better than Frey is at right back. But Ian Frey is still a monster at right back and should be playing over Chelo. I think the best young player right now is Yannick Bright, but I don't think that Ian Frey is overhyped. I think he isn't talked about enough by other people, and he should be starting. So I just wanted to address that real quick.
I can't disagree with anything that you said. I mean, I think in the minutes that he's, that Tata has given him this year, he's shown that he's ready to, to play big minutes. If I remember correctly, I think he has 2 or 3 goals already. He scored against
Columbus
in his first game back. It was a header, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
I was at the game, and So I mean, he gives you a little bit kind of a different player there. He's taller. He's maybe a little bit more muscular. I think he's a bit more faster than a bit faster than Chelo. But yeah, Chelo is maybe a more traditional right back, whereas Frey is, that polyfunctional player that can kind of fit in any position. Like Danny said, before Tata game, he was playing as a center defensive mid. In Neville's system, he also played as a center back, and we've seen him at right back, so he can play multiple positions. Unfortunately, Tata sees him only as a right back. I would have loved to see him as a center back.
Me too. I think he should get some time. And I'm a big fan of Noah Allen. I think that he's done well for being put in as a center back. I think he's done well, but he's undersized, and when you're playing with 10 men, they're gonna be crossing it into the box. You shouldn't put the most undersized center back that you have. I think that would have been a perfect spot. I honestly think Christoph should have gotten in the game, but I would have put in Frey. Yes, Christoph, when you have him set in the box and he doesn't have to defend in transition, he would have been fine out there. But regardless, I would have put him. I would have put Ian Frey. I don't think that was the best position to put Ian Frey in. And obviously, Prince scored over him with that header. Whatever. That is what it is. All right, so let's move on. So round of 16, we have Columbus. We just beat Columbus 2-1 a couple of weeks ago. Since then, though, let me tell you what Columbus has done since we just beat them. Let me see. Here we go.
We only beat them 2-1? I thought it was more than that.
No. We beat them 2-1. And we scored those 2 goals, I want to say in the first 20 minutes. It was Ian Frey and Campana. And after the first 20 minutes that we scored, we kind of just held on. We held on. Cucho scored a goal right before the halftime. And then the second half, we just kind of held on. And we won. And Cucho had a one-on-one opportunity against Drake in that second half, which Drake somehow stopped. But usually Cucho would stop. Would convert on an opportunity like that. And we kind of got out of there with that win. Since we beat them 2-1, though, the very next game, they beat Sporting Kansas City 4-0, just like they did last night. Then they beat New England 5-1. Then they beat Nashville 2-0. They beat Toronto 4-0. They went and they beat LAFC in Los Angeles 5-1. LAFC is a squad. They drew with Charlotte somehow 1-1. Then they went ahead and they beat Aston Villa 4-1. And they did lose to Atlanta 2-1. I don't know what happened there. And then they beat Sporting Kansas City 4-0 yesterday. They've been on a tear since we beat them. We're playing them in Columbus. And Columbus, for all the talk about people aren't showing up to the games, they had over 20,000 show up at Columbus yesterday. So it should be a good turnout attendance-wise. And Columbus is on a roll right now. How are you feeling about? Well, let's start with us before we start talking about Columbus. What do you think the starting lineup will be now that we know that David Martinez can't play?
I think you're gonna have to put Busquets in the back. I mean, eh, I want to say Toto Aviles, but with that firepower that Columbus has up front with Rossi, Cucho, and I forget the other guy, but they have
Christian
three.
Ramirez.
That's right, Ramirez. I mean, I don't know, man. I guess you got to go with Toto just because he's been playing there, and he's probably has the most minutes. But if Toto wasn't playing and David Martinez could play, I would probably put them, Busquets and Martinez, as the two center backs for this game. And I would there's no doubt in my mind that Bright starts and Bright needs to start.
I agree.
Because this is the game for him.
I think we could all agree that Busquets is going to play center back.
No doubt. Yeah, I think you essentially have the starting lineup right here. I think this is what it's going to be. Now, is this what it should be? I don't know.
For those of you on audio, the lineup that I put up, it's almost like a prediction calendar. Obviously, I go Alba left back, Busquets and Aviles center backs, and Weigand at right back, which should be Frey, but it'll probably be Weigand. Then at center defensive mid, Yannick Bright, and then we have Gressel left mid, Redondo right mid, and then up top Suarez striker and Gomez left wing, Rojas right wing. That's basically what we came out in as last game. It's just that it would be Yannick Bright coming in for David Martinez.
Can I tell you that I don't know. This doesn't get me too excited. I would almost rather have Rojas in the midfield for Gressel and Taylor playing, because I feel like Taylor gives you a different. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's a really tough game, man. I don't want to be Tata. I don't want to play Tata, man, because it's.
I like what you just said though, because I like Diego Gomez in the midfield more than I like him up at left wing. And if it were like from what you just said, I'd rather put Diego Gomez in the midfield. A midfield of Diego Gomez, Redondo, and Bright, I think is shut down. Well, not shut down, but it could help defensively quite a bit. And instead of Gressel, you put Robert Taylor in at left wing.
I like that because I really love what Robert Taylor gives you in the one-on-one, especially on the wing. And we don't know yet who's going to be playing right back for Columbus. I don't know if their new guy played yet, Danny, but
well, Farsi's probably still going to play, I would assume.
I don't know. Remember, they've just acquired two guys. So they acquired DeJuan Jones from the New England Revolution, who supposedly, I don't know that much about him, but from what I've read here and there, he's supposedly one of the better left backs in the league. They've also signed Andres, or not signed, but they got on loan from River Plate, right back Andres Herrera. So they're reinforcing their defense clearly. And yesterday, I guess it was the same guys as always playing. They had Arfston and Farsi playing. So we'll see. They played 3-4-2-1 yesterday, with Diego Rossi as the 10, not Cucho. Sorry, Diego Rossi as the 9, not Cucho, which is a little bit different. But like you said, man, they're on a roll. It's going to be a fun game.
When Ty joins us from the Wise Men podcast to talk Columbus, he always tells us that Wilfred Nancy, every 15, 20 minutes, he has the top three kind of switch, right? So you don't always have Cucho playing as a striker. He might move off to the left or to the right. Same thing with Ramirez and with and Rossi. So it's like you have a hard time marking players because they're constantly interchanging. And that's what's so difficult about defending this Columbus team. And real quick, Eric just said, just switch Gressel and Rojas. You know what my thing is with Gressel and Rojas for this game? Both of those in the midfield, I don't think that they give you as much defensively as you want or need for this game. That's why I think Gomez being in the midfield with a Bright would be a great pairing. And then you just put Robert Taylor up at top. Because Rojas is great, but Rojas doesn't defend. Yeah, and Gressel tries, but I don't think he's a great defender either.
And I don't think Gressel as a right wing with Suarez. I mean, yes, he does have really good chemistry with Suarez, but again, I think Taylor offers you a lot more as a winger than Gressel, especially if Campana's not playing and you're not going to be playing like that crossing game that you probably would be. And that's the great thing about Gressel. He gives you great crosses. But Taylor just gives you, a much more dynamic player on the wing, taking players one-on-one, getting into the box. And he's shown, over the stretch that the players were gone in Copa America, he's shown to be growing some chemistry with, with Matias Rojas when he played in the middle, and also with Jordi Alba on the left there. At the beginning of the season, that was one of the hot topics was, can Jordi Alba play with Robert Taylor? And, I think we've seen that they can play together because they put together a lot of good games back to back over the last couple months.
And Peach is saying, depends on the type of attack you want. If you're going for long balls, etc., Gressel would probably be best in the midfield. Yeah, but I don't think that's the game that they're going to play. I think they're going to try to, even though Columbus lost possession also. And what are your thoughts on my last comment?
Yeah, he said he's saying to take out Gressel and put in Kremaski on the wing.
I'm not a big fan of Kremaki on the wing. I like him in the midfield.
Can I tell you, I was surprised that the sub was Ruiz and not Kremaski. I mean, I know he came on, but I was just surprised that Ruiz came on at all. We haven't seen him in a while, and I didn't expect him to come on.
Well, that is something that we didn't address on the post game. And shout out to Italy Jet. Thank you for joining. Obviously, Italy Jet isn't as into Inter Miami as everybody else, so he wasn't talking as much Inter Miami as somebody else would have. But shout out, I appreciate him joining us. But I forgot to bring up David Ruiz had a beautiful opportunity when he was coming down the right side, and then he had two defenders on him, and I saw Kremaki just flying down the middle of the pitch, and I was like, and it was a beautiful hold up. Like I was like, okay, David Ruiz sees him and he's holding the ball up, waiting for Kremaki to get to the top of the box to dish it to Kremaki. I thought that Kremaki would have had a great opportunity, right? I don't know if he would have scored, but he would have had an opportunity. And when Kremaki gets to the top of the box, David Ruiz started doing some I don't know. He started like dancing with the ball, trying to take these two defenders on. I have no idea why he chose to do that. And we didn't get anything, not an opportunity. I don't think we even got a shot on goal out of that. And I was like, this is the type of stuff that you haven't played much. You get the opportunity to play. That's the type of stuff that you do that gets you, that takes away some more playing time. And it really sucks because I think David Ruiz has some quality, but I guess he still has some growing to do, maybe.
Yeah, some maturing to do, and that's definitely the topic of conversation that we were having at the game. With the folks that I went with, was when he came on, I was like, "Oof, you sure you want to put in David?" I thought the sub.
I like Ruiz.
No, and I do too. But in that moment where it was 4-2 or 4-3, whatever it was, you're down to 10 men. I thought Tata would have opted for Frey and gone to a line of 5 in the back, maybe like a 5-3-1.
Yeah.
I didn't think that he was going to maintain that 4-4-1 or 4-3-2 that he was playing for most of the game. I thought he would go to 5 in the back and try to protect the lead. So that's why I was kind of surprised. And especially putting in David Ruiz, who can be a little crazy at times. I was like, oh no, here we go. Because he's liable to get a red card at any point in the game. And then you go down 2 guys, and what do you do? So that was my only criticism. And I guess not much criticism. It's more so I was more surprised that the call was to bring him in. So
he's still young.
He's got talent, man. Remember, he's shown really, really good flashes over the last couple of years.
He is what I thought Yannick Bright before June. I remember I said, Yannick Bright looks really good. He's going to be a really good player for us for the next half decade. Obviously, I think I'm wrong now. I think he might not be with us for 5 years. But I thought that he would have time he looks good. He's going to keep developing with us. And eventually, he's going to get to okay, he has to go to Europe now. I think David Ruiz has that in him. He just needs to mature a bit. But I think he's going to be with us for a while. And I think he's going to just continue to get better. Real quick, Rohan said Italy Jet over the Keanu lover. Yes. F the Keanu lover. He refuses to do the show because he says he's upset that I don't watch The Matrix. Have you watched The Matrix, Alana?
I have. I've watched all
Okay.
three. I can tell you, I'm only a big fan of the first one. The second one and the third one were eh. But I do like Keanu Reeves movies, man. The Replacements was a good movie.
Never watched it.
Speed. You never watched Speed?
Yeah, I watched Speed. Well, that's the thing. I have seen some Keanu movies, but I feel like he's so monotone with every role he has. It's the same exact voice. And look, everybody's allowed to like who they like, right? I might like some actors that you think aren't great. Like everybody has their taste. My favorite actor is Tom Hanks.
I think that's a fantastic pick. I think Tom Hanks is a fantastic actor. I'm more of the comedy guy. So one of my favorite actors I would have to say is Jim Carrey. I grew up watching Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. To me, those are. I mean, he's just a funny guy. The Truman Show, love that movie. So my favorite actor.
Truman Show.
Oh man,
but
watch it, please.
You know when I started liking Jim Carrey, because I always thought he was a little over the top for me. But I started liking him when I watched Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. That I was like, okay, you got some range. I like it, and I started respecting him a little more after that. But yeah, all right. Back to the game. Against Columbus. You know what's one thing that I think we have that people don't talk enough about? Jordi Alba. Jordi Alba is I don't think he's a beast, right? He's an absolute beast. And since the beginning of June, he has been tearing it up. He has figuratively put the team on his shoulders. Now, we have lost. I made a graphic. Here it is. Since June 1st, he's played 10 games. He has 3 goals, 10 assists, and they've only lost 1 game. 8 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. That only loss being against Tigres, which, by the way, they had the lead. No, I'm sorry, they were tied when he left the pitch. Okay, they lost that game after he left, and that was the only game of those 10 that he didn't play a full 90. And that's the only game that they lost in those 10. He wasn't a part of that Cincinnati game where we lost 6-1. Jordi Alba is a beast, and I think that he will contribute this game. I think he will continue. And I don't think that people are realizing how well Inter Miami has played over the last 2 months at this point. Like everybody's like, but Columbus. Like Inter Miami has beaten everybody but Tigres. Cincinnati, you could say Cincinnati, but we had at center back Christoph and Busquets, which is the slowest pairing, I think, in MLS history. Jordi Alba didn't play that game. Like they were playing against essentially our B team. So I think that we have a great opportunity to beat Columbus because we have a good team.
I mean, are you telling me that Inter Miami and Tata Martino won games without Messi and Suarez? Is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm telling you.
He was a decent enough coach to get his players to win that many games. Wow, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. For all you Tata haters out there that want him out, I mean that just goes to show you that he might know what he's doing. Now, in terms of Jordi, dude, I think we've talked about it multiple times. In the times that I've been on, I think Jordi Alba. And again, not taking anything away from Messi, from Busquets, and from Suarez, but to me, Jordi Alba came the most prepared to play. And I think he's the most in shape out of the 4, just soccer-wise. He is the best of the 4. Obviously, he doesn't give you the magic that Messi might give you every now and then. But if you look at Tata's system and the tactics that he plays, they play down that left side almost 80% of the game. And they're looking
at one point
Jordi.
It was 70%. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're looking for Jordi. And Jordi not only stays on the wing like as a back, but Jordi steps into the midfield a lot and almost plays like a 4th or 5th midfielder, allowing the winger on his side to get more open space. But let me tell you, I mean, that play, it's almost, I call it the FIFA play because that's the play that I do in FIFA is where you take it down the the line and then you pass it backwards to the center and that's how you score. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what we're running basically. I mean, Jordi Alba and whoever's playing on the left wing, they're just touching, getting up towards the left, and then Jordi Alba slots it in.
Yep.
And I can't say enough about him, man. He's a baller, bro.
A lot of people were saying that Jordy was limping after the game, after he got stepped on, right? Because that penalty
That's
that they
right.
called on him, he got stepped on. But I haven't heard anything about possibly not playing. Hopefully that he will play because he is an integral part of this team. So, how are you feeling about this game on Tuesday? Sorry, Tuesday in Columbus.
I'm feeling okay, man. I know Columbus is rolling, but like you said, quietly, Inter Miami is rolling as well.
Quietly. Mm-hmm.
Quietly. And yeah, because since Messi's not here, you're not getting all that recognition. So again, you said it, nobody's talked about Inter Miami. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10. And really, there's not a lot of people talking. Everybody's talking about LAFC with their signing of Giroud. They're talking about Columbus with all their blowouts. I feel comfortable, Danny. I know it's going to be tough, especially without Martinez. I think having Martinez and would have helped out.
But I think Bright doesn't get on the pitch if Martinez is healthy.
And that's what I'm saying.
If he's playing.
And that's what I'm saying. I still feel comfortable because we've seen Busquets play effectively as a center back, and again I feel okay having Yannick Bright slot into Bussi's role, and I even feel a little bit better with him starting if he's going to start there than if we would have came out with the same starting lineup that we did against Toronto.
I'm with you. I think defensively with Yannick Bright, we are a different team. Outside of that game where we let up 6 goals with Cincinnati, since Yannick Bright came, we went from 1.5 goals against us to just 1 against us. Since whenever Yannick Bright starts, I think that we did a decent job of containing Columbus, even though they had the opportunities the first time we played. And again, that was not with a complete roster. We have now Suarez. We didn't play that game. I think we're gonna be good. I feel pretty good about it, surprisingly, because Columbus is probably one of the better teams. And the thing is, because everybody looks at the standings and they're like, oh, Columbus isn't that great. Like, they're not up top. What happened with Columbus this year is what happened with Philadelphia last year. They made a run in the Champions Cup, and because of that, they sacrificed a lot of regular season games with the rotation, and then they pick it up once they're out of the Champions Cup or once the Champions Cup's over. And that's what Columbus has done. That's what Philadelphia did last year. Now, to that point, last year, Philadelphia was rolling at one point going into the League's Cup. We went into Philadelphia. I did not feel confident about that game because Philadelphia looked so good and they don't lose at home. Before last season, at least at that point, they had only lost like 2 or 3 home games in the previous 3 years. Like, it was something crazy. And they went, and Inter Miami showed that they could beat good teams away from home. I think that this League's Cup is going to be along the same lines. I think the quality of the players on this team, the depth on this team will come out, and it will be shown on Tuesday. I think it'll be an exciting game. Even though people are saying that people aren't into League's Cup, I promise you people will be watching this game because this is probably the best game of the round of 16 from what I'm looking at. So I think that you're going to have eyes on the game, and it's going to be exciting. And I think Inter Miami's going to come out on top. I really do. I think it's going to be I go 2-1 so often. But
it seems to be a common winning score
right.
for Inter Miami this year.
Yeah, but I feel like I was about to say 2-1. I was like, oh, but I say that every freaking week. But I'm gonna go with it again. I think they win 2-1. Keeping a clean sheet against Columbus won't be easy. So I think they'll get 1, but I think we'll get 2, and we'll hold on. And I think Yannick Bright will have another outstanding performance. Aiden Morris isn't on this team anymore. Columbus, I mean, he's not on this team anymore. He was an integral part of that midfield. I think that we have a great opportunity to win. Now, in the chat, if you want to go ahead and you can jump in with your prediction. Solana, what do you think?
Look, I think it's going to be an Inter Miami win as well. I think they're rolling right now. They have great depth. And And I think for the first time in the club's history, you could feel comfortable saying, going into every single game, saying, I feel comfortable that we're going to win. I think this is the first time in the club's young history that you can honestly say that without somebody saying that you're psycho or you're nuts. And my prediction is what Jonathan said: 3-2 Inter. That's
Well, the games are high scoring in Leagues Cup.
They are, man. They
For
are.
some
There's
reason,
not a lot of defense being played. That's why, and seeing how many goals Columbus has been putting up the last few games. Not that it scares me, or worries me, because I'm confident in the defense. But you also got to think about that as well. And Inter Miami scored, put up 4. The other night they had 2 against Puebla. They've shown they could be a high scoring team too. So anything can. That's, I think, the greatest part about the League Cup is anything can happen. And the fact that it's a single elimination tournament and it's not home and home, kind of like Libertadores and Copa Sudamericana and CONCACAF Champions. I think that's what makes it kind of a little bit more exciting because anything can happen on any given day.
Some people are predicting PKs, and I hate PKs. Those drain me so much. They're so nerve wracking. I was there for the Nashville Inter Miami final in Nashville for the Leagues Cup. Dude, so stressful watching that thing in person, especially when they put in Ulloa for that 5th one and he missed it. That was brutal. I saw, I lost a comment. I saw somebody put up a comment. I cannot. Oh, there it is. Rohan says they also have a false high after beating Aston Villa's C team. You know what? Like I said, they've been rolling since we beat them. And then they spanked Kansas City twice. They spanked New England. They spanked, they haven't necessarily beat world beaters, but they did beat LAFC 5-1. And LAFC is a really good team, and they beat them in LA. So Columbus isn't necessarily something to take lightly either. Now, hypothetically, if we were to beat Columbus, we would play either Tigres or NYCFC. Now, some people might be looking at this like, oh, Tigres are going to beat NYCFC. You have to keep in mind, NYCFC plays in Yankee Stadium. I already checked. The Yankees aren't playing in New York this week. So I believe the game will be in Yankee Stadium. That has to be, like it usually is a big-time home field advantage for NYCFC because teams aren't accustomed to playing in such a narrow pitch. Do you think that there's any chance that we see NYCFC in the round of 8 if we were to beat Columbus, or do you think it's going to be Tigres?
I think the one thing that you can count on in this League's Cup, especially with the format, is that anybody can beat anybody. And we've seen it all over the tournament. Nobody thought that Austin was going to beat Pumas. Nobody thought Austin was going to beat Monterrey. I don't think anybody had it on their Leagues Cup bingo card that Seattle was going to trounce the Galaxy. Nobody saw, San Jose beating Necaxa 4-0. So to answer your question, Danny, yes, New York City FC, especially playing at home on that narrow pitch, might have a slight advantage over Tigres. And with the format, the way it is, that you can just tie and go to PKs, anybody can get through. So would I be surprised if it's Inter Miami, NYCFC in New York next weekend? No. I'd be looking at tickets.
Yeah. Well, that like I said, there's 7 teams that they could host again. So they technically could host against Tigres next game. And if Cruz Azul, or I forgot the other team's name, Mazatlan,
yeah.
Mazatlan. If one of those 2 teams make it to the semifinal, they would host the semifinal also. And then if they make it to the final against a Mexican team or against Colorado somehow, they would host that also. So there's a chance, although it be slim, that Inter Miami could host every game moving forward.
And that's I wanted to play devil's advocate with you, Danny. Would you prefer? Obviously, NYCFC would be the weaker matchup, right? Would be let's say the easier.
But I would hate playing in Yankee Stadium because it would be in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, but would you prefer playing Tigres, which would be the much tougher matchup at home, and being able to possibly go to the game
I
and
can't
see
go.
it. Well, okay, but if you can, maybe I'll go. I'll go for you
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that Suarez can score again. But like, would just to have home field advantage, would you be okay playing the tougher team?
I think so. I think I'd rather play Tigres at home than NYCFC. I hate playing in Yankee Stadium, especially us. Like when we like to play with Jordi Alba and Julian Gressel, for example, up the wings. Teams that rely on the wing play to cross it in usually suffer when they play in NYCFC or in Yankee Stadium because they don't have the room to work out wide. So teams end up playing up the middle a lot. And if you're not accustomed to playing up the middle, it's a huge disadvantage when you're playing against NYCFC. I know NYCFC very well. That's a big time home field advantage the team has, and they know about it. And they understand that they have that advantage. So I'd rather play Tigres at home. And that game would probably be either Friday or Saturday, I would assume.
You think it would be a sellout? You think people will finally show up for that game?
I don't know. I don't know about a sellout, but I think if it's a Saturday, I think there will be a lot more people in the stands. And I think unless Inter Miami hasn't learned their lesson, I think that they will put out the tickets at a much more affordable price in hopes of avoiding having to give away free tickets. But we'll see. But because it's a Saturday, that alone, I think it will give you a better turnout.
I'll take the free tickets, especially like in Miami. Don't give out the free tickets until Friday afternoon. That way,
That was so horrible.
That way, everybody makes plans and gives me their free tickets.
That was so horrible. And I tried to give away tickets. After 12, they completely stopped me. I wasn't allowed to transfer any more tickets. I don't know if they think that I was trying to sell it and then like cash at me or something. I don't know what they thought exactly what was happening, but they completely stopped me from transferring tickets. It really sucked because then
Now we know.
tickets.
Once you get to 12, you just have them transfer to me, and I'll transfer to somebody else. Because for those of you that don't know, and for those of you that are in the comments and in the chat or even listening, and you live in South Florida and want to go to a game, whenever Danny, myself, Chris, anybody from the show gets our hands on free tickets, we always look to give them to some folks who haven't been able to go to the game, or we're not looking to make a profit out of here. We just want you guys to enjoy
unless
the game.
Messi's playing. If Messi's playing, I'm selling my tickets. I won't give those away. Just because I know I can make money on it.
No, but yours. But if somebody were to give you free tickets, wouldn't you? What you would get? I mean, and just to I really hope that if they do get the home game, that even if it's not a sellout, that they at least get 16,000, 17,000. Because let me tell you, man, I'm really, really, really enjoying watching this team play. Like for the first time, I just feel like you go out there and you watch football. Like it's just nice soccer being played out there by the team.
And I think it'll be a good turnout. I honestly do. If they host Tigres, on top of the fact that it's Tigres, right? It's a Mexican team, so it's something different instead of Toronto. I think for many reasons, it's being a Saturday. I think that it'll be a really good turnout. So I think that's what's going to happen. And then Anthony asked, why would NYCFC host? It's based off of last year's standings. There were only two teams, and I'll put up the graphic. There were only two MLS teams that had a worse record than we did last year, right? So this is how the tiers ended up. If you look on the right column, Inter Miami was 42nd. So we only host teams under us unless they're Mexican teams, right? And under us was only Colorado, which was 46th, and Toronto, which was 47th. Now, Toronto, we hosted, obviously, last round. And then Colorado is the only other MLS team that ended up under us. So that would be the only other MLS team that we would host. Other than that, you have to hope to play against a Mexican Liga MX team. So that is why NYCFC, I don't even know where they ended up, NYCFC would be in the second column.
Yes, they're down there, number 31.
31. So that is why they would be hosting over us. Completely off topic, but something I wanted to address real quick. We were talking about The Matrix earlier. I'm a big Disney head. Some people might know this, some people might not. Did you see that they already have a Toy Story 5 planned for 2026?
I did.
Did you hear what the plot's going to be?
I have not heard the plot, but I did hear of them doing Toy Story 5?
They announced it yesterday that the plot or the premise of the movie will be the toys versus electronics, which I thought was very interesting. And this is kind of like a teaser right here.
That's interesting, man.
That
That is
is really cool because I
I
mean
l
that is
I
what's
like
happened,
that.
right? Yeah, me too. Because kids are now addicted to the tablet. Maybe they're neglecting their toys now because they're so addicted to tablets and whatnot.
But I've
So I
got
thought
a
that was very
question.
interesting.
I think that if that's the graphic that they gave, that kind of goes against how Toy Story 4 finished because Toy Story 4 finished with Woody and and uh and
Well, that's
and
what I
uh
thought
and,
was
and
weird.
Bo Peep
Right.
leaving the group. So I don't know, man.
I don't know why Woody's there either. I thought the same thing, but Woody is in the movie, right? He shows up. They had two teasers. They had this, and they had like a little small video that shows Woody, Buzz, Jesse. So
Well,
Woody is back with the group apparently, or somehow makes his way back.
I guess
But
so. We're
I
gonna have to figure that out.
yeah, I think that is very very weird though. Asif, shout out for the Super Slam, listening live after 10 weeks since my daughter. Oh,
Oh,
congratulations, Asif!
congratulations.
10 weeks. Yeah, I have a daughter in the very near future, probably in the next couple of days, possibly. So, well, I might be right there with you. I won't take a 10-week break, but I will probably be off for a little while. Solana and maybe if Krista's being a little bitch, might come on and hold it down for a little while. Oh, and then one other thing, Matsuya, I'm probably butchering his
No,
name.
Modest Yahoo
Mariciahu on Discord had a birthday yesterday, so shout
has a
out if
happy
you're
birthday.
listening. Happy birthday to you.
Hey,
And
one more
that's
Disney thing because I'm a Disney fan like you. So D23 is this weekend. We're going to be finding out a lot of new cool things on the parks. One of the things I heard yesterday was apparently Disney is partnering up with the creators of Bluey, and they're going to be having Bluey in the parks.
that's
Uh,
awesome.
so
Bluey is
for
what is my favorite cartoon, kids
I, I
cartoon.
I've gotten into it lately with my
Uh,
son, and
it's
can I
awesome.
tell you that I'm super excited to have that in the park. So if you're a Disney fan and you have kids, be on the lookout, for Bluey being in the parks. That's what's rumored. So that's fantastic.
That is, and for if you just got into it, they have I think it's like 3 seasons, but the last season they had a special like half-hour episode. I don't know if you've got into it yet,
I haven't
but
gotten to
watch it.
that yet. Okay,
Watch it. It pulls at your heartstrings a little bit. Bluey is a really well done show. I think
absolutely.
of all the kid shows that my kids have watched, uh, Dora the Explorer, all those kid shows, Bluey I think is by far and away the best little kid show there is. So
No
all right.
doubt.
Oh yeah, and Incredibles 3 was also announced yesterday.
That's
So
right. That's right.
all right. So we both believe that Inter Miami will pull it off against Columbus. I think that we will be back talking about a preview, hopefully against Tigres, hosting it here in Chase Stadium, if not up in New York. But I think that Inter Miami's path to a semifinal is there. It's possible. I think we have a good chance of getting to the final again. I honestly believe. I don't know who we would end up with, but I think that the chance is there, and I'm excited for it.
America.
That would be wild. That would be wild. It would be in Chase Stadium.
I
Imagine.
know. I know.
All right. Any final words there, Solana?
No, man, I'm just happy that hopefully Bluey is coming to Disney,
Yep.
and I'm glad we talked Disney instead of Matrix today.
Keanu Reeves is still overrated in my book, but everybody has their taste.
Hey, I'm curious. I think they asked in the Discord. I didn't see if you spoke about it, but what do you think about Nicolas Cage?
I haven't watched. I put him I put him in the same place as Keanu Reeves.
Oh no, he's got to be a step up.
No.
He's not monotone. Come on, you've never seen Face Off?
Yes, I like Face Off with John Travolta.
Yeah, that's a good
You
movie.
know what it is? I'm
The
gonna tell you what
National
I think
Treasure
it is.
movies? You don't like those?
I've never watched them. I'm not a big action movie guy.
Are you
That's
more
why
of a
John.
rom-com guy?
I'm into rom-coms. I'm into dramas. Give me suspense. My favorite genre is comedy. Comedy is my favorite genre. But yeah, I'm not. I like for actors. I like Denzel Washington. I like Leonardo DiCaprio. I like Tom Hanks.
All right, all
Like
right.
so those are the type of movies that I'm into. Like I don't know, I'm not into those action. Like you know what movies I can't stand? Fast and the Furious. I can't stand the Fast and the Furious franchise.
I watched the first couple. As I like the second one that's in Miami because you're watching it and you can see all the different things in Miami. It's cool. No doubt, I'm with you, Jonathan. Bluey is definitely greater than the Matrix. And Pythias Con Air is a absolute awesome movie. And
Con Air was good
Danny,
also.
I don't know if you watched it,
I
but you
watched
like
some
suspense.
action movies.
You like
Yes,
suspense. You got to watch Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler. If you've never seen Adam
I've
Sandler
watched
do
it.
something serious, I mean
Yeah, I
that is a
watched it.
badass movie. So
Yeah, it was with KG.
yeah,
Yeah. That's the one that Anthony Edwards is in. No.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
So
Was it that one? I don't remember. But I know KG's in that one. That was a good movie also. Yeah, I like dramas. I like comedies. And Fast and the Furious is the real La Familia. Come on, no man, I can't stand. How many times? Like I've only seen the commercials, right? Because I haven't actually seen like the last like 10 that came out. But like they have like cars like flying off of planes, and then like it's like come on. The last
What's-
one I watched was Tokyo Drift, which by the way has one of my favorite, most underrated songs ever.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what the name of the song is, but I really like the song from the Tokyo Drift soundtrack. But that was the last Fast and Furious I think I watched.
It's probably the best thing that you did because after 5, I mean, the things that started happening were just like they're jumping off of planes onto another plane. It's just not realistic anymore.
No,
At least the
got to
first
another.
couple were realistic because you could see street racing going on. I think things that like were happening, I could see that going on. Like Street Wars, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, I was dying to go to the desert to go to Street Wars.
And this is see, so Rohan knows what song I'm talking about. The Tokyo Drift, that Japanese song, it does hit, man. I'm telling you, I have
It
to
hits.
listen to it.
I'm gonna have to play it now on my way to to golf. It might hype me up.
It's a good movie. Lord of the Rings franchise is the worst. You know what? I don't think I've watched Lord of the Rings. I've watched all of Harry Potter. I watched all of Harry Potter. I read the Hunger Games, and then I watched all the movies, and the books and the movies are both really good. So if you haven't watched the Hunger Games, it's really good also.
Yeah,
and
my wife and I, we did that during the
Peaches. The
that's what it's
Teriyaki
called?
Boys one. Yes.
All right.
The Teriyaki Boys, I think, are the artist.
All
That's
right,
a really good song.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up,
Yeah.
son. I'm gonna play it on the way to golf. But yeah, I could tell you during the pandemic, that's what me and my wife did. We looked at all the movies that had like trilogies or like were series or whatever, and we watched every single one, like Divergent, The Hunger Games, Harry Potter. We watched all of them except
The
for
Hunger
Lord
Games
of
is
the
good.
Rings. Couldn't get into that one.
No, I haven't given it a chance. And did I watch Dead? Not yet. I haven't watched Deadpool. I went to see. What did I watch recently? I watched Despicable Me with the kids. I haven't gotten to watch Deadpool yet. Hopefully, I get to watch it. It's just I don't know. My wife gets so uncomfortable sitting down for long periods of time right now that it's like, hey, let's sit down for 2 hours to watch Deadpool. I might just have to wait to watch it when it comes on streaming, or if anybody knows how to illegally stream it, let me know. All right, I think I asked you already, but I'm gonna ask you again. Any final words?
No, man. Just excited for Tuesday and just a big shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks for being up with us either early or late, wherever you're at.
Yep. And on Monday, I don't think we're gonna have a show on Monday. I'm gonna try to see if we figure something out for Tuesday because Tuesday's a random is the game. I can't remember us ever having a Tuesday game, honestly. Maybe Leagues Cup last year, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But we'll figure out the schedule for next week. But yeah, we'll be back Tuesday after the game, and we'll see when we do the Spanish show. But yeah, that's about it. Oh, and also, I almost forgot. I'm gonna leave it in the description, but just in case, here, let me put this in the chat real quick before we sign off. I told you we have the Spanish show has a new channel, and we also have a Battered MLS Fans channel, which will also be on a random day because it's usually on Tuesday nights, but because of the game, we'll have to move that also. If you go ahead and you subscribe to those two, yeah, somewhere around here, where is it? If you subscribe to those two, I am going to be doing a raffle this week, and I'm going to be giving away the Fusion scarf. So if you are subscribed to both channels, you automatically enter the chance to win a Miami Fusion scarf for those of you that are into Miami and the history or whatnot. So go ahead, subscribe to both those channels, and we'll be doing the drawing at some point next week because I don't know when we're going to do Cafecito again next week, but we'll figure it out. But yes, go ahead, enter the drawing, And I think that's about it. We went an hour and 15 minutes. It was a fun Saturday morning. Appreciate everybody that took the time to join us. If you are listening on audio, thank you for listening all the way to the end. Please leave us 5 stars, comment, review, all that good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends that there's a Inter Miami show that goes on a million times a week. So we appreciate everybody joining us. Love those Boca colors. Okay, yeah, I guess technically they're Boca colors.
You're not allowed into the North Stand with that.
No. And for those of you in the chat, as always, you guys are the best part of the show. Footy from around the world starts today. We have the Community Shield with Manchester United against Manchester City, which is the derby. We have the USA women's going for the gold medal against Brazil. This is my favorite part of this sport, is that it's year long. And it just keeps going. So that's going to be fun. Next week, the EPL finally kicks off. La Liga kicks off. All awesome. And Peter said started yesterday. Okay, there you go. Started yesterday. All right, and then and that's it. I'm going to stop gas bagging. Appreciate everybody. And until the next one, have a good one.
See ya.